right, Gail, you can call this meeting to order. You want to do
Brian?
I'm here.
Tyler?
Here.
Kim's absent. John?
Here.
And Deb? Here.
All right, do you have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that was bad. Aye.
All right, thank you all. All right, so we're all here. Thank you all for coming tonight to review the bids submitted October 9th. We already reviewed some of them and possibly take action on the masonry work.
So, to your point on the EFS, can you just talk a little bit about quality? Because I know that was one thing, and long-term stability and such.
Yeah, so, and I can speak to that. I might pose a question before we dive into kind of the ins and outs of that, and it pertains to what your question is, Tyler. So, while I recognize the net savings of $55,709 to change out some of the, and I apologize, guys, I haven't had a chance to get back to you guys before posing this question somewhat officially. But my question is, do we need to accept that reduction or proposed reduction at this time, or can that float for a little while? Because it's only a $55,000 savings for what I would consider a lessening of quality. Now, we've chosen areas that that can be impacted or that have little significance on the durability and quality, just kind of up above roof levels and kind of around the corners, kind of the back side of the building, so to speak. But I guess I'm posing the question, could we hold on to that one until the other bids come through, have it as a potential safety valve to potentially not reduce some of those things? If the net savings is only $55,000, I'm having a hard time seeing the value in that changing from brick to EFS in some areas. Now,
so there's no other, so let me just ask, so we just keep this moving.
Yeah.
That is not connected to any of the others. In other words, making that change doesn't affect the spring or any of the bracing.
That's
it's
correct.
Simply a trade in, trade out.
It's trade in, trade out. And while EFS is a fine product and it's used literally everywhere, even in this climate, it's still not brick masonry. It's still not. It's not a 100-year. It's not a 100-year building product, right? So you guys fill in the blanks if for anything. But Art and I were talking about this just today. Like, gosh, I'd hate to sell ourselves short. We might do better on some other bids coming down the road. Can we hold on to that one and not clip that coupon just yet? Because it's only 55 grand. It's less than 0.5% of the total project budget.
Yep, got it.
But it's going to be recognized. So anyway.
Approve the cost reductions of 1, 2, and 3.
That's a question posed.
So I guess guys align on what your thoughts are. Yeah.
Sorry, Brandon,
so you can shoot him later.
We'll hit the curveball. So, I think the only probably question that I have is what will the design documents show? They're going to come out here in a few weeks, because we would bid that EFS work as part of that.
Yeah. We would propose to keep it as is and potentially do then a change order before the masonry EFS work were to start with the bidder.
So say that. So you would keep it as is. So you would keep it as brick.
Keep it as brick for now.
And then
yes.
If you need the 55 grand, and
do you get that back in a change order? I mean, our
so we have it.
So that's a good question.
So we have it from
Seedorf
already.
Yeah.
So we have the 197,984
We're good there.
Yeah.
So we would be good there. It would just be concreting our budget assumption that we put in for the EFS through a bid.
Yeah.
So right now there isn't any other EFS work.
No, we do have EFS.
There is EFS work.
Two sides of the two-story classroom addition at the high school is EFS, because that's where the future expansion would happen to the building.
Yeah.
Whenever that next phase of expansion happens.
So I wonder if we can include a unit cost or square foot cost to add more in
Yeah.
if we do.
Oh,
that.
that's an interesting
We
way
could
to
do that.
handle that, yeah.
So that way we at least have it at bidding and it's
Yeah,
a.
we can
math
lock in a
calculation
number
Yeah,
at bid day.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good
versus
versus
trying to handle it afterwards.
Yeah.
and if you handle it as a change order, you risk the
The
increase or the inflation
Yeah.
cost. That-
Yeah.
My
Yeah, so-
experience when building the high schools, you didn't get dollar
Yeah.
for dollar on a change
No,
order.
no. But if you throw the unit cost in as a provision, we
Yep.
can lock that number in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
that
So, sorry for the curveball, but I think it's worth considering just because we were hoping to see a larger savings of the truth. So Art and I have been kicking around this past couple of days since we got the letter, like, gosh, it just.
So
We wouldn't-
timing really captures the 220 or maybe even closer to the 250,000,
Correct.
just by giving them more time, and they said, well, then,
Different time of year.
your time of year and more time,
Yeah.
Yep.
right?
And that's the lion's share of the savings here, right? And,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and this is just once again, a trade in, trade out.
Oh, that's positive.
Yeah, that's a big help.
Just to keep it moving
Yeah.
forward, I'd say I would tend to agree that if it's $50,000 savings and it's more long-term with brick, I think it'd be something to consider. I appreciate that there's a plan here that keeps us to budget, but if we did that, then worst case scenario, we're now 22,000 over budget, right?
Yeah.
But not
So-
220,000.
Not 220, yeah.
And so we can keep that as a placeholder until the remainder of the bids come in. And then the board always has the ability to take action on that at a later time.
Yeah.
So what Sam's proposing is delay action on that last item. And we may or may not need it after all the bids come in and we see how everything shakes out.
So, just so I'm clear, so delay action on changing it to EFS?
Yes.
Is that, okay?
Yeah.
It's still, it would be,
Item
it would just say,
Yeah.
listen, let's not change that for now.
Yep.
Leave it as the brick. And I think you mentioned some things you can do to actually bid it and find out what would it cost us if we switched to EFS, right?
Yep.
So what we would ask the board to is take
Okay.
action on
I just
bid
wanna make sure
package
we weren't just
4,
skipping
award
it.
it to Seedorf Masonry, including
Yep.
items 1, 2, and 3.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, stands approved. Excellent. Did you capture how to
Yeah.
record that? Okay, thank you.
So, just question now, just for communication purposes, which I think this is really important, is I think we need to be really clear, and maybe you don't have it tonight, but what does that mean for timing on everything, right? So, I think we talked a little bit about it at the last meeting. Expectations would still be fall of 19 for the band room, and if that's still the case, then that's a good communication piece, but if the others are now January of 2020 or whatever they are, let's just make sure we're clear on the communication, because this impacts the timing, right?
Yes, yeah, so the schedule, I think, shows all those other 3 locations being done November, December timeframe.
Be able
So-
to move into the
yeah.
second semester.
So they would be able to move in prior to the first semester being done, and then they'll be able to start up in the new spaces
And I think
in January. When they come back. Is that correct?
we blame it on the weather.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it is all the bricklayers got behind because of all of the rain, so it made it cost prohibitive
Yep.
to do it timely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right, John.
Yeah.
Anything else that we need to be updated on?
Adam, do you want to talk about this next
Yeah, so the,
miscellaneous items?
yep,
Um,
so bid package 5 includes a lot of miscellaneous items, we'll say. So porta potties, dumpsters, the building permit, some of the erosion control testing or monitoring and measures, construction testing, all of that stuff. We currently have about $300,000 budgeted for us to get started with foundations, earthwork, all that. We're asking for a partial approval of that bid package 5 of $195,000. That will get us started so we can get the building permit, sign up the testing firm, sign up the erosion control contractor to come out and put the silt fence in and create the permit that we need to submit for that, as well as get dumpsters on site and porta potties on site for the earthwork and the concrete foundation guys.
And the reason to separate these out is just to get moving faster.
Yep. And so the remaining portion of $105,000 will be associated with the second bid package, or bid issuance 2, that bids out in December.
So same stuff, just the next phase of it.
Correct. Yep. So it'll be a lot of the stuff for the intermediate and elementary school will be included at a later date, as well as the remainder of the stuff for the high school, middle school that we don't need now.
We call these items general conditions items, and
Yep.
so just items it takes to get the work done, that kind of in the background.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all of the contracts for these pass through us, so it's not a contract the board holds.
And that's what that earlier email that I said with these items
Yeah.
didn't come to the board because they were over $10,000 and there was a contract and we had
I
to
see.
sign. Adam informed me that, no, they hold the
Yeah,
contract,
so
so
we'll
this is
hold
how
the
we handle it.
Yep, we'll hold the contract for all of the testing firms, the miscellaneous stuff.
I
So we-
move for approval of bid package 5 for $195,000.
I second it.
All right, excellent. All in favor?
You're fast.
All right, stands approved. I don't think there's anything else to discuss. Tyler, do you have anything else?
I don't think so. Not, yeah. Yeah, I want to just throw out, since we're having an official board meeting, I did talk to John Pop on the phone yesterday, just catching up with the mayor. And I think it would be good for us to consider, and we're talking probably first quarter, maybe January, to do a common meeting with the city council. They're doing some stuff, there's some development things, and they're talking about maybe they'd have some money for a tennis court, but they don't have the land. Would the school district have a place to put some tennis courts? And I said, we should talk, so.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's a good.
But I think it'd be good, we did it, were you on the board already? We did one 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and we should probably do it every year.
Yeah.
Quite
Oh,
honestly.
yeah.
With the
That's
city
like
council.
Put in tennis courts?
Well, that's been a while.
We found those. Yeah.
So anyway,
I was trying to-
just
What?
throwing that
Yeah,
out,
okay.
maybe you could capture that for our next meeting, and it has a little facility component to it, but if the city wanted to help pay for tennis courts and we just had to find a place to put them, that'd be a good deal.
That'd be an excellent deal. All right.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
3 minutes to
Thank
spare.
you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming out and discussing.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Thanks for driving all the way out here.
I'm sorry.
That's Brian's like 6 times.
Let me just turn this off.
Yeah, until we get names and faces.
Okay.